Now for the easy part. Select the sampling techniques that are least likely to introduce bias. The worst ones are convenience and self-selected. So cluster is the least likely, sampling is the least likely, systematic is the least likely, random is the least likely. Not even a study, not a sampling, not a technique. It's not a sampling technique. My marker's off. I don't know what's up with that. But anyways, so it's those four. Those are the least likely. All right, DHS records show the mean GPA for a DHS student is 2.95. In a random sample, the mean GPA is 3.2. What is this mean of 3.2? Sample starts with an S, so does the word statistic. This over here would be a population, which is a parameter. You know, I'll use either one of those on the quiz, but this example is a statistic. All right, DHS records show the mean number of days missed per year is 19.7. A random sample produced a mean of 24.7. What is the mean of 19.7? So this came from the population. That was the thing. This was from population. Population starts with a P, so does the word parameter. A math teacher has analyzed Billy's test results so far this year. She finds the data is approximately normally distributed with a mean of 28.2 and a standard deviation of 3.9. The teacher is very focused on growth of Billy and notes to herself that his most recent test score was an 18. How many standard deviations is this below his usual normal? So this means find a z-score. Now a z-score is x, which is the data value you have, minus x bar, which is the mean, sitting pretty over sigma, the standard deviation. So his current score is an 18. His average score so far has been 28.2, and that sits over the standard deviation of 3.9. And then you go and you push some buttons. Now, obviously, it's negative. Like unless you have no idea, like if you're baked out of your mind, you pick B and C, right? It's got to be either A or D because it's negative. He's doing worse. But, you know, don't be that stoner who picks the two in the middle and says, it's the teacher's fault. I don't understand. No, it's not. Never been the teacher's fault. It's been your fault the whole time. Everybody knows it. So that rounds to choice D, right? Yeah, choice D. 24, what percentage of Billy's test scores have been between 22 and 25? You can't do this one on a normal curve. This is going to be the normal CDF function. And you can actually use the values. The low score is 22. The high score is 25. His mean was 28.2. And his standard deviation was 3.9. Now, when I pull this up, you'll see why I wrote it like that. I'm going to go to second vars, normal CDF. The lower boundary here, the low range of scores is 22. The high boundary, 25. We have a mean of 28.2 and a standard deviation of 3.9. You don't actually have to convert to z-scores. And there you go, 0.1500, 15%. And you'll see the way I wrote it on a piece of paper is exactly the way the calculator presents it after you type that stuff in. This used to be, you know, back 10 years ago, how we actually had kids type these things out. They didn't get that nice little menu there where you'd plug stuff in. All right, choose the most appropriate response. Now, we do have some data here, and I'm going to do what I've been doing with y'all, which is frequency list, right? 18 happens twice, 19 happens 3 times, 20 happens 3 times, no, 4 times, my bad. 1, 2, 3, 4. 25 happens 4 times, 28 twice, and 29 once. So let's take a look and see what this looks like in our T84. Let me reset mine real quick so that we all are on the same page here. because your TI-84s are going to be reset on quiz day, right? You got to know how to do this stuff. And that's how it works. I can't just let first period, which has a lot of smart kids, put everything in a calculator for you so that all of you guys get it right. Check the typos. D, there we go. 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 1. All right, let's make sure I actually chose those numbers right. 18 twice, 19 3 times, 24 times, 25 4 times, 28 twice. That looks good. All right, so it's all in there. I want to look at the histogram, so I'm going to go to second y equals. I'm going to turn plots on. I'm going to choose the histogram. I'm going to scroll down to frequency. I'm going to hit second 2. That turns on the frequency list. I'm going to do a zoom 9. And I would say, based on this thing, that this thing is skewed. All right. But, we'll check the mean and the median. But this histogram is pretty skewed, isn't it? It would be a skewed right. There's probably a skewed right. But let's go ahead and let's make a comparison here. Let's go to stat, calc, one variable statistics. Remember, you got a frequency list, second list 2, calculate. And the median and the mean are somewhat close, but the histogram is skewed, okay? So because it is skewed, we use the median. So anything talks about mean, I'm throwing away. And somebody's going to pick D. Don't pick D, even though that might be you. Oh, it's got to be that one. Since the mean is greater than the median, let's check that. Well, actually, I may have gotten a little happy there. I know it's not D. The histogram is suggesting approximately normal. It is not suggesting normal. The histogram is suggesting skewed right. So the mean is 22.375. Is that what I got? 22.375. The median is 20. Also got that. And the mean is greater than the median. Therefore, the data is skewed right because the mean is somewhere over here. Additionally, the histogram is suggesting it's skewed right. All right, 26, the best measure and center for the spread is going to be the median and the IQR. So we had a median of 22.375. So we're talking about things that want the median, not the mean. So we had a median of 22.375. For some reason I have 20 down here. Oh, I'm being silly. Median is 20. Median's 20, median's 20. The IQR is probably not right. So the IQR is going to be Q1 through Q3, 19 through 25. There you go. Now I'm a little disoriented, so forgive me. Table below shows the minimum hourly wage in US dollars for selected years since 1995. To the nearest tenth, write the equation for the line of best fit. This is Lin Reg, kids. This is Lin Reg, AX plus B. You're going to throw X's in list 1, and you're going to throw Y's in list 2. This is not hard to do. But there's going to be lots of y'all that just act like you don't know what to do. This helplessness thing that y'all do, it's not fooling anybody. It's a choice you make. You are choosing to be helpless. I hate to tell you that, but that's the reality of it. You could do this course if you want to do this course. But instead, you think it's my fault. It's my problem. It is not my problem. It never has been, never will be. The day that it becomes my problem is the day I quit teaching. Part of this is learning how to get y'all to do your stuff. And I have a typo. I can see it right there, 10. We got 7,500s. We got 1. What is this, minimum wage? Looks like minimum wage. The good old days there when minimum wage was $2. Actually, when I was a kid, minimum wage really wasn't that bad. Like, it wasn't much money, but it went pretty far. It did. And I'm just making sure I got no typos. I don't see any. Anyways, off to stat calc, because that's where all the cool stuff is. Stat calc for linear regression. And I do not have a frequency list, so I'm going to clear that out. Calculate. It's going to be something that gets y'all. And let's see here. It looks like the A part is 0.09 and the B part is 0.63. Oh, I carried it out a little bit. 0.09. Why do I have a typo somewhere? I still have a typo right there. Thought I fixed that. Let's go back through that process again. Stat, calc, 4. Enter. 0.098 and 0.402. 0.098, 0.402, 0.098, 0.40. That's the one that's closest. It's one of these two, right? Actually, one of these 3. One of those 3 is the right answer. Now, you are supposed to interpret the slope. Your slope was 0.098. That means that every year it is positive, we increase. Now, this guy's got the slope wrong. It says the slope is 0.403, so it's not this guy. This guy had the equation wrong. This guy says decreases. Choice D. Part 2 is find and interpret R. You are going to have to remember how to turn that on. You are. So we're going to turn it on. We're going to go second 0. Hit that matrix key, get you closer. Scroll down to diagnostic on. Press enter. Press enter. And then just run back through the process. Stat calc 4. Calculate. I know that these questions are going to kill a lot of kids because it's a calculator thing and you just don't ever want to play along and you don't ever want to try at home. But R is right here. She's 0.988. She's positive. All right, what does it mean? Well, we've got a choice here. There is a very strong positive linear relationship between years past and minimum wage, or there is a strong positive linear relationship. Oh, well, this one has it wrong too. It's just choice C. Easy enough. And is that it? Nope, there's one more. 500 freshmen at I can't even say that, Schwamberg High School took an algebra test. The scores were distributed normally with a mean of 75. That goes in the middle. And a standard deviation of 7. So we add 7, we're at 82. We add 7 again, we're at 89. We add 7 again, we're at what, 96? Take it away, 68, 61. And then what, 54? And then you just fill in your pieces. You're not going to be able to answer this question without your numbers here. Remember, the insides are 34s and 34s. The next guys are 13 5s and 13 5s. These are 2.35s apiece. And the tails, which look like there's nothing there, are 0.15. There you go. What percentage of scores are between scores of 61 and 82? 61 to 82 is those 3 numbers right there. You just add those numbers together. 34 plus 34 is 68, plus 13.5 is 81.5%. Between 75 and 82 is up next. Well, that's just that guy right there, 34%. Change my color here. 61 to 89. That is going to be 2 standard deviations of the mean, which is 95%. Remember, it's called the 68, 95, 99.7 rule. 1 standard deviation left and right, 2 standard deviations left and right, 3 standard deviations left and right. Less than a 61, that's going to be these two pieces. You put those numbers together, you get 2.5%. And higher than 96, well, that's just this guy right there, 0.15%. Hopefully that question goes very well. One can hope, right? Question is how many of you guys actually bothered to do the twin? I don't know what to tell y'all. Remember, wherever you're sitting this year is where I'm going to assign you next year. Remember that.